MVPs from the game were Deontay Johnson on defense. Really solid game from his standpoint, I thought, playing his position at a really high level, and the growth and maturity of that young man has been really, really impressive. Special teams, Max and Hook, two huge plays in the kicking game. Obviously, you never go into a game planning that you're going to score two defensive touchdowns or two special teams touchdowns like we did, and a big block for him, and then obviously another touchdown, another great play to get the touchdown, and then DeQuan Finn on offense. I thought the supplemental role that he played in the game was critical to get some extra rushing yards, and he played very efficient. And both our quarterbacks did, but I thought he did a really, really nice job. So those three guys would be the MVPs of the game. Happy for our football team to get off to a good start and get win number one. Obviously this week is a whole different animal, and the challenge that presents itself. We're grateful and honored to go play a top 5 program and one that's historically been at the top of college football for decades. So be an awesome opportunity, an awesome experience for our young people, and one we're looking forward to very much. So that being said, love to take your questions.
How unique was it last night to be able to just sit and in live time actually watch Notre Dame's game? And what did you think? What were your impressions of their game last night?
Well, I mean, obviously it's anytime we've been in this situation before where days get staggered and you're on a short week, one team's on a short week, the other one's not. But yeah, definitely a chance to sit there and watch them on TV was a unique experience. Then this morning, obviously, it's a quick turnaround. They try to get the coach's videotape broken down, and then get the information to our players from last night's game. So, we're playing a great football team. They're talented across the board, very well coached in all 3 phases. Got a ton of respect for Coach Kelly, his staff, what they've been able to do. And like I said, this is historically a top 5 place, and some place it's that wins consistently. And obviously this game is 20-year anniversary of 9/11, historic event in our country's history, and the first Notre Dame home football game in a long time. So this is a big deal, and a big deal for, not only Notre Dame fans and Toledo fans, but college football fans. So we're looking forward to going out and playing a great football team and giving it our best shot.
When you have a marquee opponent like this on your schedule, I know you said all the right things about, not overlooking Norfolk State, but how difficult was that to keep everybody laser focused last week when you have this marquee opponent that's been on your schedule and everybody's been looking forward to it for months?
Well, I don't think it, I think it was a non-issue, to be honest with you, last week. But obviously throughout the summer and throughout the spring, there's build up to the season, but there's also build up to these type of games. This is why you come to Toledo. This is why you come to a place like this that historically gets these type of games on the schedule and puts you in a chance to be on a national stage and play in front of great crowds and play in front of a national audience. And I know our guys are looking forward to it, but this is game 2 for us. We got to have, we got to correct a lot of mistakes that we made Saturday night. We have to fix a lot of things. We have to be more disciplined in our approach and really be airtight on the details of when it comes to putting a game plan together and executing a game plan, and for 60 minutes, not just for 30 minutes or 42 minutes or whenever we feel good. When it doesn't go our way, we got to continue to respond to adversity the right way and put a complete football game together.
You mentioned being more disciplined. You mentioned some selfish plays Saturday night after the game. How do you get that discipline back? What do you need to do to make sure that focus is on Notre Dame and eliminating those selfish plays?
Well, I think first and foremost, we don't have a selfish football team. We have a team that hadn't had its fans in the stadium for over a year. Had a lot of fun Saturday night, and we reaped the benefits from some celebration and some things that, like I said after the game, they're stupid things. They're things that you can't win championships, and you can't win championship type games if you're going to continue to do those things. They're made by some veteran players, but we address them, we punish them, we handle what we got to handle, we handle it in-house, and we move forward and we go, and I think our guys are mature enough and smart enough to know that you can't beat great teams that way. And, we didn't play a great team Saturday night, and we're playing a great one this weekend. So, the rules of engagement, what's on the line, and you either tighten up or you don't. And that's just how it goes.
Kind of going off of that, are there concerns about the number of penalties the Rockets had against Norfolk State?
Well, I think we just addressed that a little bit to a certain extent. I think that, we handle the 15-yard variety of them, and, the ones that, have to come off the tape, and then the ones that are playing hard penalties and they're going through, the course of the football game. we're going to play fast. We're going to play violent. We're going to run to the football on defense. We're going to block people to the whistle on offense. That style of play is not changing. We're not going to turn our guys down. It's harder to turn them up than it is to turn them down. So we want to make sure that we play with a good emotional intelligence and play with great discipline from whistle to whistle. And then the other stuff that needs to get cut out of it. My gosh, we got to cut it out.
I wanted to ask you about the quarterbacks. How do you decide when it's time to put DQ in, and how will you do that going forward? Is it kind of a feel thing, or how will you kind of approach that?
Well, yeah, it's a feel thing. I mean, I think that we had the plan going into last week's game that DQ was going to play in the third series, no matter if Carter was 10 for 10 or 0 for 10 and thrown 2 touchdowns or thrown 2 interceptions. It didn't matter. I think it helps DQ, but it also helps Carter. It helps him take a series and sit back and look at the defense from a different perspective of things. And I give both of those guys a lot of credit. They both handled that like a pro and really used the time off. The series is off to really get an idea and a good picture of what the defense was trying to do to attack us, then going back and executing at a high level. So those guys both played pretty efficient football Saturday, and really happy with those two guys.
What does DQ bring to the team? I know you talked last week about how he's not just a runner anymore, but can you just talk about what the athleticism that he brings and how difficult that can make it on an opponent?
Well, I think the number one thing that's been the most impressive thing is his commitment and his time spent on task to becoming the player that he's starting to become. There's a lot of room for growth still. There's a lot of things that he still wants to get accomplished, but man, oh man, when you invest at a high level and you start to see the results of that investment, it only makes you want to go harder and work more for it. And I think that's what you're starting to see. And, that becomes infectious, not only in the quarterback room, but it becomes infectious throughout the whole entire football team. So, guys see what I see, the players see what I see. So, when your investment level is really, really high and your commitment level is really, really high to each other, then, you should expect to go out and play very well. And that's what he did on Saturday.
It's been a little while since you guys have got to play in an environment like you're going to play in on Saturday. How do you think your guys will respond? How excited are you to see what they do in that kind of an environment?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a great experience, but we're not going for an experience. I mean, we want to go win the football game. We want to do the best job we can to try to make the plays necessary to go win the game. So this is, I think, what every young man wants to be a part of. I think that college football's pageantry is back. The stands are full, bands are there, the cheerleaders are there, reporters are there. Everybody's tweeting, everybody's talking. It's back to normal. Let's go have fun with it. Go play as hard as you possibly can. Stay disciplined and have that emotional intelligence we were talking about and see where the chips fall.
Health-wise, how are you guys right now? Obviously, you didn't have Tyson and Holt against Norfolk State. Are they going to be back for Notre Dame? Any other injury concerns going into this game?
No, those guys are day to day. We'll see how this goes this week with them in practice and see if we can get anything out of them this weekend. But I thought for the most part came out pretty healthy Saturday night. Not a bunch of some little stuff as you get through football games. That's going to happen, but nothing major to speak about when it comes to the injury piece of it.
When it comes to the play, like Desjuan Johnson having to get ejected, would you like to see college football as a whole there be some sort of change where there's at least a little common sense used about intent or anything like that?
You're kind of cutting out there. I think you're talking about Desjuan's hit and the targeting thing.
Yeah, and would you rather see some sort of, maybe an intent type thing, or getting ejected for something like that and then having to sit out or whatever? Would you like to see a rule change there potentially?
Well, I mean, you can't lead with your head. That's just plain and simple. And no matter what the circumstances, no matter what you can, how many times have we watched something or, you look at somebody else's circumstances and say, well, I see what he's doing there. Well, the rules are pretty cut and clear. Like, you can see what he's doing there, but he still did it. You know what I mean? So that's part of the rules of the game. It's an unfortunate situation. He's a major part of our football team. He's he's a great player. He's a big part of what we try to do on defense. Won't have him for a half. Next man's got to step up and play really well. And we'll get him back for the second half and see where we'll go.